Hi there, it's Cheryl Truesdale, and I'm thrilled that you're here with me for this episode of Cheryl Shares TV, your station for inspiration. And today I want to bring up something I think that we are all pretty much guilty of, and that is labeling ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about the positive ones here. I am talking about the negative labels that we use to describe ourselves. Oh, words like stupid, fat, ugly, control freak, quitter, loser, and need I say more? You know, those words that I just listed don't even cover the gambit, do they? I know I have called myself things and referred to myself in ways that I can't even repeat here because it would be inappropriate. And here is the danger of doing this. When we use negative labels to describe ourselves, we hurt ourselves at a fundamental level, meaning we hurt ourselves right at the very core of who we are. And I'm sure you can see how this would become a problem. Referring to ourselves like this is very damaging to our self-image. And it just may be that a damaged self-image is what is holding you back in your life. There is a quote, and it's from Joel Osteen, and it really sums this up perfectly. And he says, "Don't make the mistake of wearing negative labels. A negative label can keep you from your destiny." And no one wants to be the cause of their own demise, now do they? I know I don't. Which is why I came up with a process for eliminating the toxic and destructive labels we use to describe ourselves. And I call this process 3 steps to remove negative labels. And in this video, we're going to go over each of those steps so that you can begin eliminating any toxic or damaging labels that you use to describe yourself immediately. It is time to start rejecting those labels that have nothing positive to say about us. Are you with me? So to do this, you just simply follow this 3-step process. Identify, confront, and replace. So the first step is to identify all of the negative labels that you've assigned yourself. Then once you identify those labels, it is time to confront those nasty little critters. And then the last step, after you've identified them and confronted them, you are going to replace any negative comments with more positive comments. Pretty simple, right? So the 3-step process is identifying the labels, stopping them dead in their tracks by confronting them, and then replacing them with more positive, supportive comments about ourselves. Now, let's dive into how to do this. Are you ready? Step 1 is to identify. So what we need to do to begin getting rid of all of the negative labels is we have to identify all of them and then write them down. So the best way I found to do this is to exert some effort and pay extra attention to the conversations going on in our mind. What will happen then is you'll start to be able to notice the negative chatter that comes up. Because what happens so often is we get so used to these negative labels that we don't notice them a lot of the time, and they're just swirling around in our minds. Of course, they're affecting us emotionally, right? They're damaging our self-image. So when you start to tell yourself, hey, I'm going to just start paying attention, it's great. Your brain just jumps on board, and don't be shocked by all the negative stuff that comes up. All I want you to do is just write it down. I don't care if you write it on paper. I don't care if you use a smartphone or a tablet. You just need to record them, because what we're going to do is then process through that list in steps 2 and steps 3. Now, like I said, a lot of stuff's going to come up, but that is a good thing because we are going to process it now and eliminate those bad boys forever. Step 2 is to confront. Okay, now that you have identified and made a list of all of those nasty little labels, you are now in the position to confront those bad boys and expose them for the lies that they are. So, what I would suggest that you do is to go down your list and one by one begin exposing the validity of each of those labels. I don't care if these labels have been with you forever and they feel like they're ingrained. By placing them under objective scrutiny, you have the power to destroy them. So what happens is, by challenging the validity of the labels, you put them in the position to have to explain themselves to you, and this is where their flaws are exposed. Let me give you an example from my own life. I had a really, really bad habit of calling myself stupid. It seemed like I'd done this pretty much all of my life, and this label really wanted to stick. So what I did was, I decided to challenge the validity of that label, stupid, And to do this, I just stepped back and looked at the bigger picture of my life. So by looking at my life, I could see that yes, I had done a few stupid things, but there was a lot more evidence for some pretty intelligent things that I had done. I was actually pretty smart. So as you can see, by challenging the validity of my stupid label, I was able to show its inaccuracy. And this showed me that not only was I not stupid, I was actually smart. Do you see the power of this process? So now that you have your list of all the labels you identified, you can go through those now and confront them one by one. Then once you do this, you're ready for step 3, and that is where we're going to create some positive replacement labels. Step number 3 is to replace. This is where the magic happens. Replacing the negative labels breaks their power to hold you back in your life. So for me, what happened was I replaced, remember, the I'm stupid label with the I'm smart label, and I started seeing results right away, and they were pretty amazing. So now, instead of feeling bad about my intelligence, I was actually feeling really good about how intelligent I actually was. Do you see how calling myself stupid all of those years kept me trapped in a lie? So now what you can do is, just like I did, you can replace the negative labels with the smart labels, and what the negative stupid label with the positive smart label. But what you'll do is create a positive label that you can use to replace every single negative label on your list. And let me give you a few positive labels to consider. Oh, here's some good ones. Smart, beautiful, loving, kind, generous, strong, brave, confident, funny. Yeah, that should be good to get you started. So what you need to do is go down your list. You're going to confront those and expose the flaws. And then for each negative label, I want you to write a corresponding positive label. Once you have this done, you can start using the positive labels right away. So how you do this is, every time you see and recognize one of those negative labels pops up, you just remember what the corresponding positive label is, and you go ahead and you speak that over the negative label. And it takes some time to develop a new habit, but what happens is, before long, those negative labels will bubble up and automatically your positive label will jump on top. I swear, what happens now, even when I'm doing something stupid, my little positive label wants to defend me, and it jumps up and it says, no, you're really smart, it's great. So one of the side effects of this is you actually get relief from negative emotions. So if a negative label is generating a negative emotion and that negative label is no longer there, no more negative emotions. Isn't that great? Also, you're kind of making positive emotions, because when you use a positive label, that's going to make you feel good about yourself. So all you got to do is make your list, confront each one of those bad boys, and then replace them and start experiencing that positive, wonderful person that you truly are inside, and expressing those positive labels to the world. Well, there you have it. 3 steps to remove negative labels. Just think, the more negative self-labeling you're able to identify, the more you're able to confront. And the more you're able to confront, the more you're able to replace, removing and snuffing out those pesky lies that hold you back in your life. And if you have any great ideas that you use to deal with those negative labels and how to stop them from damaging your self-image, I want to hear all about that as well. And you can tell me by leaving a comment under the video over at CherylTruesdale.com. So, do you feel inspired now? If so, would you like to inspire someone? Someone you know who could use a little love, hope, and inspiration to brighten their day? Got someone in mind? Then all you need to do to make a difference in their life right now is simply share this video with them. I'm truly honored that you joined me for this episode of Cheryl Shares TV. And to make sure you get your regular dose of inspiration, just head on over to CherylTruesdale.com and sign up for email updates. That way you'll never miss an episode. And remember, you are amazing. You do matter, and you most certainly do deserve to live a happy life that you love. And I'll see you soon, my friend. Bye.